Hello and welcome everyone to another episode of the SharpSHOOTers. As always, we're your hosts, Danny, and the Juice Man is back. How you doing today, Juice?
Doing good, Danny. I'm back from conducting my business in Las Vegas and Florida for undisclosed reasons at this time, but they will soon be revealed in the coming months.
So,
I'm happy to be
asking
back.
you if your business helped us would be fruitless. I guess you would not answer that.
That is correct.
Oh,
It's
this
me, Killer Tomato.
I know, man. It's been a while. I've been trying some other guest hosts. They were pretty good. I'm not gonna lie. They weren't. They were pretty good, but they weren't the Juice Man. So we had to bring the Juice Man back. We got the contract signed. He is back. We still need more subscriptions though, because right now I'm paying out of pocket, guys. So I need subscriptions to pay this contract. Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Yeah, but in all seriousness, thank you to Keverlast and the gentleman over at Till 5 Wrestling for stepping in and covering for me during the last 2 weeks. It's very much appreciated, and hopefully it made for some fun content for some fun shows for you all. I tried to play nice in chat, but I'm back. I'm here, baby. I ain't going
Harley
nowhere.
Harley definitely enjoyed Kever last week on. There was a couple of times that she was screaming at him. It was great.
Imposter. Oh my.
But before we get to any business, a little bit of housekeeping. As always, thank you to Accept the Win for being our official band. Play during our commercial breaks and at the start of our show. And secondly, yes, Keverlast Juice is back. If you have not subscribed, we have fallen down to 4. We want to try to get up to 10. Please shoot us a subscription if you have it. If you have Amazon Prime, it's free for you. Gives us some money. Details are in the chat. Instructions in the chat. Unfortunately, if you were trying to use the app, you can't do it on the app. It sucks, I know. Please use a laptop or probably if you have a tablet or something. Just got to go like on the website and it'll be a lot easier. Thank you very much. Now down to business. Nah, that's Juice AI. The real Juice is lost in Vegas. You know, I thought about that. Haven't seen him in person yet. I've only seen Screen Juice.
But I tell you that I absolutely did leave parts of me in Las Vegas, but they were the good parts. Well,
That's a story for
either
a
way,
different day.
different time.
All
Yeah,
right.
good time. Happy to be back. Let's dive in. I'm gonna get us going with some trivia.
Yes,
It's
sir.
my question. It's my question this week for Danny.
Hit me.
Uh, so things ain't looking too good for our Royal Rumble winners, Jey Uso and Charlotte, in terms of the potential of that getting WrestleMania main event. Could happen for one of them, but at this point, it's not looking too great. So, my trivia question for you
Oh no.
is: when was the last WrestleMania that was not main evented by a Royal Rumble winner?
I feel like I know this. I feel like I should know this.
Yep. So again, just to repeat it, what was the last WrestleMania where the winners of the Royal Rumble did not main event? And I'm not being cute here with a night one, night two thing. This
No,
is
no, no.
main
I
event.
know. I know you.
Main eventing one or the other night counts as main eventing that mania.
I don't know why my gut is telling me Shawn Michaels Undertaker retirement match, and I'm gonna go with that because I'm trying to think of anything after that. And I feel like nothing significant. Because I'm gonna say that one. Killer Tomato says Roman versus Taker. I don't think that ended. I would have been pissed if that ended at WrestleMania.
So yeah, no. So Tom is saying WrestleMania 33. You are saying WrestleMania 26. So the correct answer is WrestleMania 34.
Oh my God, scared me. I thought Killer
And
Tomato got it right.
he was
34. What was
close. He was
34?
close. So Asuka won and Shinsuke Nakamura won, and neither of them main evented that WrestleMania.
Who main
Since
evented that
then,
WrestleMania?
it was Roman and Brock.
Son of a bitch. That's right.
Yeah. So since Mania 34, every WrestleMania has ended at least with one of the Royal Rumble winners main eventing a night or in general.
And you know what
So
the funny thing is? I always
yeah,
complain about Shinsuke not main eventing that WrestleMania. I forgot that Asuka also didn't, and yeah, damn,
yeah.
that's a good
So
one.
we'll
I like
see.
that one. That was a good one.
Yeah, we'll see if they pull it again at WrestleMania 41 now with Jay and Charlotte. As of right now, it's not looking too good for them. So we'll see.
Yeah, I just don't see. I don't see even for night one or night two. I don't see how either one gets the main event
Yeah.
over the women's triple threat over Cody versus John. It wouldn't
Yeah.
make any sense. I don't know.
Yeah, so we shall see. Now, before you dive into our fantasy leaderboard, which I know everyone is hotly
Man,
anticipating.
I'm telling you, I don't look at it until
Mhm.
like this live. This second is my reaction.
Yeah.
I'm waiting on
So
pins and needles.
before we do so, speaking of pins and needles, if you can pin the comment that I'm about to put into the chat.
Uh-oh.
So I recently referenced this on our Facebook page, but the sharpshooters have opened up our own personal mailbag. Now, this mailbag is open for all of you to send in your questions. Now, we're trying to do something a little different, make it a little fun. They do not have to be wrestling related questions.
Oh
Obviously, it's a
God.
wrestling related show, but we want to do something a little fun to throw in at some point in the show here every
I
week.
forgot we agreed
So
to
we
that.
yeah, so
That's true.
we have an inbox that's open for all of you to submit any questions. Don't put them in chat. If you got them, send an email to thesharpshooters1 at yahoo.com. That's the number one for those listening and not looking in chat. It's thesharpshooters1 at yahoo.com. Just yeah, send us an email. So far we have 5 questions in the inbox. So people are submitting. I wanted to build a little bit because ideally I'd like to see how many we can do a week before it runs out, but it depends on you, the viewer. So even if you're watching this on demand, please submit questions. They can be wrestling related. They don't have to be wrestling related. It's totally up to you. But yeah, sign up, join in. Why not?
Do we have to
Um,
answer like some of these questions are going to be bad?
I mean, listen, if it's that bad, I'm not gonna use it.
Okay. So they will be
You know,
filtered. That's all I need to make sure.
within reason. I'm not gonna be jumping no like lines or anything here. And if
Like
it's something,
I'm not
and
going
if
to
it's
know
something
these
you really,
questions. You're going to surprise me. So like
yeah, and they're gonna be for both of us. I mean, you can make it just for Danny, you can make it just for me, or for both of us. Totally up to you. Whatever you want to ask.
don't make it
And
just
again,
for me.
something that Danny doesn't want to answer, I'll jump in and answer. Same thing. Is ASL a valid question? Sure. Sure, why not? Although I would question you not knowing those answers. But
I probably wouldn't answer the last one live on air. I'd just give you a little wink if you know you know.
have some fun, Danny. All right, so yeah, that's it. I just wanted to formally mention the mailbag here on the show because my co-host here did not do
I
so
forgot.
after numerous requests while I was out.
One
Uh,
request, maybe two.
that's numerous. It's two.
Maybe two. I did forget, and the best part was that literally as I ended the stream and like signed off, I said, "Shit, no mailbag tonight."
It's all right.
I was very tired
Well,
that day. It was a very the first time I had to kind of do. It was just a very tiring day.
yeah.
I
So by all means,
apologize.
that's it. Mailbag's open. Please send in your emails, your questions. One last time, the sharpshooters1 at yahoo.com. That is the number one, not the word one.
It is
So
pinned in the chat.
in chat for you to look at in all its glory and write down or use right now while we're live. Send it on in. All right. Now let's move on to the fantasy leaderboard. You're all here for. This is now as of the end of last week, not including Raw last night or 2 nights. Yeah, last night.
Oh my God, I'm losing in the rankings again. This is ridiculous.
So, lot of movement. I'm surprised. I thought I was kind of worried after Chamber we were kind of done with movement, but
No way.
yeah, some nice shakeups here. Arlie still holding the top. But second place is only 7 points out from her, so very close. Byrne moving up had a huge week, 90 points
Jesus
on the week.
Christ.
And then yeah, Harley still in first, but
Good job.
we'll see how long. I mean, Burns right there, nipping on your toes or your heels, whatever you're into.
I'm
But yeah,
plummeting.
Burn moving up one. As a result, Danny moving down one.
Plummeting.
Did not have a good week at all. 55 points. That was the fourth worst on the week.
That's
And
2 weeks in a row. Yeah.
technically the worst when I get to the people at the bottom, but I digress. Jay DeFalco moving up one. He flips with TJ, who moved down one. So the two of you flipped. But hey, I mean the top was at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Top five, maybe even six, are still in this. Still kind of relatively close. You're all within like was that 60 points of each other.
Oh, I'm not close to done. We still got many weeks left.
Oh yeah. Well, we're in the last month.
Yeah, that's
not much,
many weeks.
Not much. Yeah, not much time left, but yeah, we have less weeks than we had so far. Everlast, no movement, but he's staying right where he is. He's still in contention. Killer Tomato moving up one spot, but he flipped with Jim Fields, who moved down a spot. Unfortunately, because he did not submit a new roster for last week.
Oh, Jim, no.
So, unfortunately, because Jim Fields did not submit a roster, he used the previous week's roster, only got him 6 points.
Yeah, probably no one wrestled from the previous week. Damn.
Kinda hurt him. I mean, for what it's worth, if he sent something in within like a relative time frame, I might have considered something, but nothing ever came in. So, sorry, Jim. But this is kind of how it goes with the game. Goes for anybody else if they don't submit on time. And lastly, boys over at Till 5. Well, Tanner submitted a team, and Notorious literally said, I'll have what he's having, and just copy pasted.
He said that live on air. He said that he's still going to submit lineups because he won't give up, but he's given up. You know, it's kind of one of those things.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. To be fair, I mean, he's very far out. I mean, I think he's almost half of the. He's a little bit like more than half the first place score. So
we should ask them to make a wager between the both of them for last place and see if that lights a fire under his butt.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see if they're into that. But yeah, because right now that's like a 75-point difference, which is also still big.
That's what I'm saying, but that's doable.
He's pretty in the hole. Yeah, depends on the weeks. I mean, Notorious, at least they did pick different teams this week. So that's good. I was waiting for him to copy paste again.
I thought he was going to copy paste again. That was going to be hilarious.
Yeah. But so really quickly, just to go over on the right side, the top wrestlers for the week: Montez Ford, Angelo Dawkins.
Yeah, man,
actually
had
the best weeks. New tag team champions. They scored 21 points as a result. Seth Rollins with the cage match win, 15 points. Woods and Kofi with the was it a no hold? No, what was the false? I forget.
It was like a false count, no holds bar, but they didn't really use a lot of. It was kind of weak.
Yeah,
we'll talk about that on Thursday.
13 points for them. Well, that was last week, so we won't talk about this.
Oh, no, we won't. We talked about
that. Jey Uso with 12 points, Charlotte with 11, Randy with 11, and CM Punk losing with 8 points. So those are your top score getters for last week. Y'all made it also kind of easy. Same kind of happened this week where, you know, now it's getting to the point where everyone's kind of picking the same people more than usual.
Yeah, I feel like WrestleMania is going to be the big, like, difference maker.
Yeah. So I'm waiting still to see how things are panning out as we get closer, but I have a lot of thoughts on things I can do to make it exciting for Mania week itself. But I really want to wait to see how things shake out before I say it. And
can we do some side bets?
Well, that's up to you. They're side bets, so yeah, totally up to you. Yeah, that's your leaderboard. I will get this posted tomorrow on the socials. I know I haven't done it the last few weeks. That's on me. I apologize. Just been very busy, but I will get this posted for everyone to look at and see. And yeah, best of luck this week. I mean, it's off to a very interesting start. I'll say that much for last night.
I feel good about my start from last night, but SmackDown's going to be interesting. So we'll see how that goes.
We will
All
see.
right. So Juice hasn't been here in a while. So Juice decided to take the reins for this Tuesday and come up with both of our segments tonight. Not for long lists.
Evil laugh.
Ooh,
Evil
we'll see how that
laugh.
goes. But so tonight is a very WrestleMania themed night because we are on the road to WrestleMania, pretty much at the end of the road. So, Juice, why don't you explain our first segment tonight?
Do I have to? No, I'm kidding. Okay. So, first segment of the night we want to talk about here is over the years, a lot of people have main evented WrestleManias. A lot of people have undeservedly main evented WrestleManias. This list is my list and Danny's list that we each came up with of the top five wrestlers that we think that have never main evented WrestleMania and deserve to. So this is our list. I will give you the chance to go first because I do have some questionable decisions right off the bat.
I know.
On your list.
And, I know.
Yeah, so again, this is our top five each ranking of the top five wrestlers that we believe have never main evented WrestleMania and should.
So we'll start from the bottom. And just so we're clear, night one does not count. That's it. Night one is not the main event of WrestleMania. If you ask anyone what the main event last year was, it was Cody versus Roman. What was the main event the year before that? Cody versus Roman. The main event is the last match of WrestleMania. That is Sunday night's night 2 now, which is annoying, but it's the truth. KO deserves a world title main event match at WrestleMania. He's put in the work. He's done so much throughout the years. Great on the mic. Look at the work he's done this year. Look at the work he's doing now. The man deserves to end WrestleMania either on his back or with the title raised. I don't care. But he deserves, watch your mouth, but he deserves the night 2 now main event spot.
So I do have to say, I figured that was going to be your reasoning for this list. Now, as much as I hate 2-night manias and your logic is sound, I'm basically at a point where I can't fight that part of history anymore as a fan because it's clearly
totally
too far gone. It's too far gone to even fight that consideration. At the end of the day, it is considered a main event of WrestleMania. No matter how much we kick and scream about it and don't agree with it, they are considered main events of WrestleMania. So, again, I understand your logic and your reasoning, but technically your bottom three have all already done it.
Totally fair.
Yeah, I'm just saying, listen, again, I'm with you, but like at this point, it's just not worth it.
Also, just for our list, I feel like my bottom three just helped kind of change the list up because otherwise our list would have been almost exactly the same.
Fine. I mean, listen, that's kind of the point of my number 5. I kind of got to a point where like my mentality when I was making my list was, what's a name that when I look at them, I go, oh shit, they never main evented Mania.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like that was kind of my mentality. Because obviously, if it was just people I'd like, I'd be like, oh, Cesaro and like,
oh yeah,
like stuff like that. And I'm not gonna be that stupid with it. Like it's people that I
wait. What about Dolph Ziggler, bro?
Oh, you get my point. Okay. So yeah, so like then by the time I got to the bottom, I was like, yeah, well, like I can understand Kane not main eventing it, but that is a name that I am surprised because he was around for so long. He was used so much in so many different programs in history. Like he was someone I'm surprised never really got that shot, that swing for a main event match at WrestleMania. So,
and I know they didn't do it often, but doing like a multi-man match, maybe not doing a one-on-one, but surprisingly like they didn't try to get him involved in any way. I agree. Like I could have seen something like that, like a WrestleMania 2000 kind of repeat where they get him involved, but never near it.
Yeah.
So number 4, I mean, once we're gonna talk about it now with the understanding of the argument and yada yada, and that's fine. Sasha Banks, no, not at all. Sasha Banks.
I'm laughing at comments.
Oh, my bad. Like a cocaine. Oh, that's terrible. God damn it! Why'd I read that out loud? See, I'm like, Ron Burgundy. I just kind of read it, and then I was like, I shouldn't have read that sometimes. So for Sasha Banks, I think that she deserved the same honor as Becky, Charlotte, and Ronda, where they got to be the main event of the WrestleMania, and without any question about it. I know she technically main evented night one, which is totally fine. But again, I think as our greatest female wrestler of all time on this podcast, I think that's the one that should have deserved to, main evented that didn't, in my opinion. So that's kind of why I added Sasha. I wanted to add, I was literally kind of looking at our list, and I was like, you know what? If I'm bucking with Kevin Owen, I'm going to go with that with Sasha and be like, she deserved to also do the same thing.
Yeah. No, and I mean, then I get that. And that's why I put Rhea Ripley. I think out of all the women that are left on the current roster, she's without a doubt the one where it's like, how? How has she not gotten it yet? Because you look at her matches that she's had so far, she's the one. Bianca got the match, Charlotte's gotten the match, Becky's gotten it, Bailey's gotten one. Sorry, not Bailey. I'm sorry. But yeah, you get my point. Basically, she's the one where I look at the resume so far for Mania and the booking behind her for the last 2 years, and it's like, how has she not gotten the main event yet? So I think this one's going to be rectified this year, and
I agree.
If not her, my number 2 will be, but we'll get to that.
That's true. Honorable mention, if I didn't put these 3, AJ, Banks, and KO, Shinsuke was going to be on this list, and so was Asuka. So Asuka probably would have been here instead of Sasha, because Asuka is my girl. I love Asuka.
It's funny. I had Asuka on my list originally, but I took her off because I looked at her WrestleMania and I'm like, she's 0-6. She's never really had
Oh yeah, they always they don't give her any respect. That's the problem. That's more where I hate them. Anyway, AJ Styles, I know technically has a cinematic Boneyard match, but I feel like that's, of all the night ones, the least main event. So of all the talented wrestlers, of all my personal favorites throughout the years, of all the guys that I just was I was hoping him and Shinsuke would have had the main event, that year. I think he's one of the biggest missed opportunities of a real WrestleMania main event.
Yeah, and I still think the decision with the low blow and everything.
The worst.
But that's neither here nor
there.
The
worst.
Yeah. Ugh. Yeah, and my number 3, I mean, yeah, it's the name, and I know his run wasn't that lengthy, get the window to get in there, but I think he's
they had the shot.
The number 1 legend you can think of when you're thinking of a huge name. I legit, even though he's the number 3 on my list, I think he's the biggest name when you really look across the field of who didn't get a main event. And again, I only put him at 3 because I realized, he had a 2-year window the first time, and then the second time around he was kind of already at the end, and
second time around definitely not. The first time around, the problem though is that they had the opportunity. It's not like it was a 2-year window where they kind of missed out. They didn't set it up. They had everything in place. Just him and Hogan couldn't figure out who was going to take the W, or how it was going to happen, whatever the case is. So it never happened. But WrestleMania 8 should have been Flair versus Hogan. WrestleMania 8 really suffered because of that, because of all the changing calls. That was the Sid Justice versus Hogan match where Papa Shango missed the entrance, and then ultimately that was all a debacle. Just everything kind of fell apart, and it should never have been in that situation in the first place. So Ric Flair, looking at that name set me off remembering what could have happened and how they really fucked that up.
Yeah.
So that's a good one. Thank you for getting me all pumped up there. And then number 2 and number 1, and surprisingly in this order, I honestly thought you were putting Punk first. I'm not going to lie. But CM Punk, number 2, and let's be honest, I mean, I put him there just because he's kind of the reason that we really started looking at snubs of the main event. Like, he really started bringing to light, like, hey, like, I deserve that spot. Brian deserves that spot. All this stuff, and we were just like, why aren't these guys? Why aren't some of our favorite technicians getting these spots and stuff? And he still hasn't, which is just a shame.
Yeah, and really quick, Killer Tomato, did Mysterio ever main event WrestleMania? He did not. The closest he got was at 24, and he did not. Not 24. Sorry.
22? No, 21. No,
23. It was 23.
23.
Yeah, because it was 07. That's when Eddie.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, because 04 was 20. Yeah.
08 Cena won. And then 07 is when Ray won, or maybe it was 22. No, I think it was 23. Okay, either way, he did not main event. No. So, going back to CM Punk really quick, he's the biggest modern day one that hasn't gotten it, and I think, again, if not Rhea, I think Punk's gonna get off this list this year. I think one of the two of them will get off this list. I do hope it's Punk. Personally, I feel like everybody wants it to be the women's match just because it's the women, which I understand. But personally, I think Punk, Roman, and Rollins is the way to go. But we'll see how the next few weeks. It depends how the fans, I guess, react to everything and feel. But
I think that's really what's going to be is fan reaction to it. I think we're in the same agreement that it shouldn't be either one. It should really be the Royal Rumble winners at main event night 1 and night 2. But in this situation, obviously that's not going to be the case.
Oh yeah, I mean, yeah. Obviously, this year I'm not with you on that. I don't.
Yeah.
I don't think Charlotte and Tiffy or Jay and Walter should main event.
No shot. No shot.
Absolutely not. They'll probably end up opening both nights, which is hysterical. But,
yeah, I also 100% agree with that. And Rey Mysterio won at WrestleMania 22. I just did a quick search.
It was 22. Okay.
Yes. And then our consensus number 1, is that the right word? Consensus? Number 1 is the late great Eddie Guerrero. And I mean, when you first posed this question to me, that was without a second thought. I was like, the first thing that popped into my head was Eddie Guerrero. First thought that popped into my head, even though the triple threat was amazing, was WrestleMania 20, where he could have done it there. Like Eddie Guerrero, man, such a great talent. And who knows, like next year he could have possibly, like, he still had years left in him. He just died so early. So like, who knows what the plan was, but unfortunately such a missed opportunity with such a great talent.
Yeah, a shame. And that was exactly what I was thinking. Like, yeah, again, not a long time, not a lot of chances alive, but like if he was still around for those next few years, I can't imagine him not getting it. I mean, I can't imagine it because Vince is Vince, but he would have been very deserving. And honestly, if he was alive and didn't get it, he'd probably still be number one on this
without
list.
even more number one on the list, we'd be even more upset probably.
Yeah. And like there were others, like, I thought about Jericho. Well, not Jericho. Jericho did it.
I thought about Jericho. Yeah. I looked it up and I was like, oh shit, Jericho did do it. Okay. Yeah, I also thought about Edge. I was surprised that I forgot Edge and Undertaker did it.
Edge did it. Like, honestly, there aren't too many names that I saw that I were like, should have done it. Like Booker T. Like, nah. I'm fine.
Question for you, and this is questionable, and I understand. Name only. Goldberg?
No.
Okay.
Honestly, I mean, again, he was really there for the WrestleMania 20, that time frame, that was a mess because he was already leaving. Yeah. So like that shouldn't have main evented at all. No. Yeah. And then from there, Goldberg wasn't really around again until
the whole like Brock and like being older stuff. So yeah, it didn't make sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, just because the name Goldberg. Just curious about that. I couldn't really think of much more.
And even like Sting, like he was never there. I wouldn't have done Sting either.
Yeah, because Sting would have had to be in his prime in order for him to main event. It wouldn't have been any of the late stuff against Triple H or whatever. That's what I'm saying. Like he would have had to been there like when they first did the takeover in 2001 or something like that. Yeah. Around that time. Like I said before, other names I was thinking of were Shinsuke and Asuka. just because those are like personal favorites of mine, and I wish that they were
Of
given
course,
better
of
opportunities.
course.
But
Yeah.
I feel like Shinsuke more than Asuka kind of falls in line more with the Cesaro argument, where that's like more my favorite not getting it. Where I think
Which
Asuka, like I think you kind of even showed with the 0-6, they give Asuka the opportunity to be at WrestleMania. They put her in the main event scene. They just don't let her be the main event or be the face of the division sometimes, which is just a
yeah.
shame because
Yeah, but again, you could have put her on a list because it's whatever criteria you wanted outside of they had to never main event at a Mania, which is
no, no, no,
kind
of
of
course. And that's where, and like I said, that's where I was like going back and forth with the list. I was like, I know what the argument's going to be. I know there, night one counts or doesn't count, yada yada. But I was like, yeah, if I'm going to buy what I want to go buy, these three at the bottom, again, if more than should have main evented, I think they should have been able to win a title in the main event at a WrestleMania because they've just put so
Yeah.
much work into the
I
company.
can respect that. I mean, like I've already said, I've
Yeah,
reached a point where clearly two night manias aren't going away.
Killer
The
Tomatoes,
mentality,
goddamn it.
the mentality is there. So it's like I hate to say it's almost like a can't beat him, join him thing, but it's true. At this
Yeah,
point, it's not going away. It's gonna count. It's in the history as counting.
yeah, I
So
know.
yeah,
When I was looking up WrestleMania main events, I just saw that it was there. I was like, no, I'm not counting these. No, I refuse.
yeah,
Killer
yeah.
Tomatoes, Shane McMahon will never be on this list. You stop that nonsense right now. Um, so yeah,
Mm,
so cool. I
That's
really like
it.
this list. Let us know what you guys think. Let us know if you thought we missed anyone else. We did some honorable mentions. This is our top 5 each. Top 2 are the same. Oh my God. When we get back from the break, we get to do the card pack opening. Don't go anywhere.
Did you miss him? Mm.
Hello, everyone, and we're back with a big Juice and a little Danny because Juice is doing a card packing opening. We've missed this, Juice. Haven't
Love
had
that
this
new
in
card
about
smell.
2 weeks.
So I stole these from a Target
Wow.
when everybody was buying their Pokemon cards.
Are you looting?
Recently? No, I'm not looting. That was a joke. Okay.
Good.
So
We don't
these
promote
are
that
once
on this
again
podcast.
for a reminder. These are the 2022 Allure cards. So 2 years ago. So they are older cards. Will be some names in here that are like, what the heck? But let's get to it.
I mean, that's been every card packing opening so far, bro.
Yeah, but I'm just reminding anybody watching that may have not been here before.
That's fair. That's
or
fair.
watching on delay.
You should be
'cause
watching every week.
Yeah, but they may see Allure and think they're the new cards. So I want everyone to know. And so after this pack, we have 2 more packs left
Of
and then-
2022?
of 2022, and
Okay.
then I'll see how I'm feeling. But I do still have these bad boys.
That
These are
sting.
the 2021 hobby box. These ones are the big one. These ones come with, I believe, a guaranteed autograph or memorabilia.
Yeah,
card
aren't
in.
you like skeptical about opening those?
I'm not skeptical. It's just like I have the base set already, so it's kind of like I'm never gonna. I don't know what I'm doing because I'm never gonna sell it, but I'm keeping it to like maybe see if it goes up in value one day. 'cause I
You
don't
should
need
open
to.
those with gloves next week. Just
So
in
I'm
case.
probably gonna open those, but that'd be like a month from now at this point. So I got time to think about
That's
it.
fair.
Okay,
That's fair.
checking these out. So we have. He's not superstitious. He's a little stitious. Yeah. All right. So Jeff Jarrett
Ugh,
off to a
I know
lovely
you
start.
love that card. That's going in one of those card sleeves for Juicy Boy.
Oh yeah, penny sleeve, baby. Lance Archer.
Oh, card sleeve number 2. We're on a roll.
I'm okay with Archer. I'm not crazy about him, but yeah. Okay, next up. Oh my god, this is the worst pack ever.
Let's
All
go.
Not this card. The next one. So we have Hangman Adam Page. That's the next card.
You know what's funny?
Hangman
His hair's a
Adam
little short
Page.
like it is now. It was before he really grew it out. At least it looks like that in the picture.
Yeah. All right. Next up, we have.
The worst card ever?
Yeah, it's a red rainbow variant.
Oh.
Jungle Boy Jack Perry.
This is when we need Matt back here, man. That son of a bitch who deserted us. That's when we need him back so he can see these Jungle Door cards that he loves.
Yep. We have a base MJF.
All white, very holy.
Yeah. And lastly, this one's actually pretty cool. It's a Title Ambitions Ruby Soho.
Wow.
I
miss
like it.
Ruby
It's got a nice
Soho.
little,
She's
it's
coming
got a
back
nice
soon,
little
right?
got a nice little wavy thing too. Well, she's with
Yeah.
her and Ty Conti are with their kids right now, so they're probably just doing that for a while.
No. I know. I'm not saying like anything bad against them. They're not like Matt. They're not going to desert AEW forever. But
I actually like that card a lot.
I
It's nice.
assume because usually like wrestlers take off like 6 to 8 months, most not all. So I was just trying to see what the timeline would have been. But whatever, let them do them.
Yeah, I don't know.
Just
I
have to
don't
see
know.
them.
Yep. All right. Now that is. Thank you for indulging me as always. That was my card pack opening. I'm eager to open up more, but I'm going to be patient for all of you, the viewer.
All right.
And tune in next week for some more AEW card pack openings. Thank you for Upper Deck, official future, hopefully maybe sponsor of the show. All right. Now it is time for the main event, our last segment of the evening.
All right,
But
Mark Henry.
before we dive into that, I want to give one more quick little plug for anybody joining us here in the second half of the show. If you see the pinned comment in the chat, that is our new mailbag email address. It is thesharpshooters1@yahoo.com. As the number 1, not the word 1. Thesharpshooters1@yahoo.com. And if you're here, use that email address. We're opening up a mailbag to you, the viewer. Send us in your questions, and we'll answer them here on the show. They do not have to be wrestling related. They can be wrestling related, but I just figure that you all know you have the option to submit any questions you want, and we'll be happy to answer. So, a little quick plug there. So, tell your friends, tell your wives, or your husbands, or your dogs.
I don't know how much I want to answer these questions, so we'll see what you people submit.
I mean, so far the questions that have been submitted are pretty fun. I'm excited.
Listen, maybe I take the John Cena route, and they get nothing. All right, Ever thought about that?
Okay.
Nothing.
Okay. Time for the main event. So, my next question I propose to Danny for this week's episode is we all know Mr. HBK, the Heartbreak Kid, is known as Mr. WrestleMania.
Yes,
But
sir.
I wanted to propose the question of who is Miss WrestleMania.
Oh,
So allow me to share my screen and bring this bad boy up.
oh boy. Miss WrestleMania.
All right. You can see it. We're all good on your
We
end.
can see it. Hold on. I just need to do a quick edit on our screen.
Okie dokie, artichoke. Just a heads up, the chat. I cannot read chat during this, so Danny, I will rely on you to relay any comments.
I got you, homeboy.
Yeah. So as you are all watching, by all means, throw in the chat who you think is Miss WrestleMania. I'm going to be proposing a case for 4 different women that I think are the ones that have the claim to the title. If you don't think the women that I have on here are correct and there's somebody else, throw it in chat. Let us know who and why. And if you do agree or don't agree with any of the names I present, let us know why.
So,
So,
before you get
yeah.
started, just for the chat
Yes.
to know, once again, have not seen this list. Killer Tomato already comes out with Becky Lynch to start off. Hot take. Haven't seen the
Ooh.
list at all. When he asked me this question, he said that he was going to be kind of making the list and I get to choose. So I gave it very little thought in the sense of like who I was trying to see who he would pick. I didn't want to come up with someone in case he didn't come up with the list. But like in case he didn't come up with any, in case he didn't put these names on, some early thoughts I had with no criteria at all is like Trish Stratus. I was thinking possibly, obviously Charlotte Flair because she's always around. I don't know how much Sasha or any of those other 4 horsewomen have wrestled at Mania, so I'm curious if they're on the list. So those were just some early names I thought of. Curious to see what he picked. Just want to throw that out there. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Sorry.
So I'll,
Sorry. Killer Tomato says Becky Lynch. Jay DeFalco says depends on who you ask. If you ask Rick or Charlotte Flair, they'll say Charlotte Flair.
That's very true. So again, and obviously at the end of this, there's no wrong or right answer. It's really just our opinions. None
Thank
of
you for
none of these slides weigh out my opinion either. I'm really just proposing based on what I looked up and what I saw.
I have one more
So
question.
please.
Why is WrestleMania hyphenated? Isn't it one word?
That's how. Honestly, that's kind of how I've always done it growing up because I think the WrestleManias during that time did have the hyphen in the logo. I could be wrong,
I'm just curious.
but yeah, I always kind of dug the WrestleMania with the dash. That's just been a personal me thing, honestly.
Tell us how you feel about that in chat. Moving on.
Yeah, that's just I don't know, just been a me thing. And if by the way, if you all in chat look in the far mid right corner of this picture, you can see yourself in the crowd.
Killer Tomato says boo juice -box.
All right, I'll live with it. That's fine. Listen, that's a hill I don't have to die on. I understand. All right, first up, we have Bianca Belair.
Oh, some of the font is a little small. Here,
So funky.
you just talk. Go ahead.
Sure, I will keep talking. So, one thing I noticed, obviously, with a lot of these women is a lot of them don't really have long-term records to like help defend their cases. Like obviously Shawn Michaels wrestled a lot, Taker wrestled a lot, Triple H wrestled a lot, but a lot of the women don't got many matches to their name, and if they do have a lot of matches to their names, a lot of losses.
Mm-hmm.
So, I did factor in the win-loss record when I made this list of 4, and I also did factor in the matches that they had, like the strength of the match that gave them the record as well. So she's 4-1. Now this is a controversial one because obviously a lot of people will lead you to believe that Bianca is undefeated at WrestleMania, and I'm serious.
What do you mean?
And
She's
I know
not.
So because this happened on the pre-show, and as you see, there was a 3-year gap until she wrestled again. A lot of people don't count this one. They just don't think it's on the record books, and she's 4-0. Me, it counts personally. Pre-show or not, I think the match counts. A loss is a loss is a loss. Um, but we'll get that. We'll cross that bridge when they finally start bringing up her record on TV, which I don't think they have yet. But either way, she lost at WrestleMania 34 in the Women's Battle Royal. Then her first, technically quote unquote, WrestleMania debut was WrestleMania 37 in the main event when she beat Sasha Banks.
Juice, can you do me a quick favor? Just because I just try to edit it really quick. Can you go back and forth from the slide to see if the font got bigger?
No, it did not.
That's a shame. Okay, no problem.
Yeah. So WrestleMania 38, then she had her win against big time Becky Lynch. This is when Becky came back and was doing the heel thing for a bit. Then at WrestleMania 39 in Hollywood, she fought Asuka 1-on-1 and she beat Asuka. And then last year, she defeated Asuka, Io Sky, and Kairi Sane in a 6-woman tag, teaming up with Jade Cargill and Naomi. So, I got 3 pretty big wins there in a row with the 1-on-1, especially the main event, which only a few women can say they have. So I think she has a strong case at this point. She's still young in the career, but I think the 4-0 with the asterisk is her a good case. So I thought Bianca should be considered. Yeah.
All right.
Next up,
I like that first one.
Yeah. Next up, we have Trish Stratus. So here you go. This is a full career of 4-2. A little bit
Trish.
back.
Nice.
Yeah. So the thing with her, she's got a good record. She's got more matches to her name to establish it, but I think her matches kind of fall off in the second half. Not the second half, the last third of it, to be fair. But yeah, so WrestleMania 18, she loses to Lita and Jazz in a triple threat.
I remember that one. I was so upset about that one.
Yeah. The next year at WrestleMania 19, she's in another triple threat with Jazz, but this time Victoria instead of Lita. She wins that one. So that one was in Seattle, if I recall. So not in Canada like the year before, but of course Vince makes them all lose in their hometown.
Of course. Really quick, Killer Tomato says WWE is just rotating pushes between Charlotte and Bianca at this point.
Well, you can't forget Rhea, but you're right. You're absolutely
maybe
right.
WrestleMania pushes is what he means. Is I don't think Rhea's won too many WrestleMania big matches yet.
That's very fair. Next up at WrestleMania 21, she did have a win against Christy Hemme. A win's a win, but this one, I mean, Christy was, I think, just calling out the Diva search at this point.
Yeah, that's a weird match to even have.
Yeah, I mean, then 22, the career definer. I mean, the loss to Mickie James. I mean, that's if there's ever a loss that makes you look like a winner.
Right. That was such a good match.
A classic. And then from there, she took 5 years off, came back at WrestleMania 27. She defeated Lady Cool and Dolph Ziggler. This is when she teamed up with Morrison and Snooki, though, so kind of whatever, match. And then at WrestleMania 39, she teamed with Becky and Lita to take on Bayley, Io, and Dakota Kai of Damage Control. So again, the last 2 matches are like good, but those are like kind of nostalgia tag pops, so they weren't that big in the history of things. But still wins. So Agreed. She's 4-2. And she's got the legendary status behind her. So I thought she was at least worth talking about.
No, 100%. I mean, that's one of the names I first came to mind. So I agree with that as well. So far, 2 good cases with Trish and Bianca.
Hooray. Next up, we have Miss Charlotte Flair.
Dun, dun, dun.
So, as we know, I don't remember his exact record, but Shawn doesn't really have a great record at WrestleMania himself. But he's still called Mr. WrestleMania, so the win-loss record doesn't have to be the defining. It's about the
quality of matches, exactly.
Exactly. So from there, she starts 4-3 record all time. At 32 was her debut. She won in the triple threat with Becky and Sasha. This was when Rick was out there with her at ringside. I can't recall completely, but I think Rick did help her to win. But he was a heel, so whatever. Excuse me. The next year at WrestleMania 33, she lost in a 4-way against Bayley, Sasha, and Nia Jax.
Yes.
Then at 34, she won. She beat Asuka and ended the streak, much to the surprise of everybody. At 35, she lost to Ronda Rousey and Becky Lynch in a triple threat match after inserting herself in, which was very rude. And then from there, she went on to some singles matches. She won at WrestleMania 36 against Rhea Ripley. This was the WrestleMania with no crowd.
Yes.
The NXT title was on the line here,
Yes. That's when
and
that's when she won it. She won the Rumble and went for the NXT title, right?
um, no, I don't
How
think
did that happen?
so. Um, maybe it was. I don't remember. Honestly, it was so bad. Honestly, the match wasn't that great either. Rhea wasn't like no crowd didn't really help either.
Yeah.
But yeah. Um,
Killer Tomato says
30. Yeah.
yes.
Thank you. Okay, good. 37. She didn't wrestle. I forget if she was injured or just fans came back, and I don't remember.
Probably
But either way,
injured.
she didn't wrestle. 38. She wrestled against Ronda Rousey. Not a great match,
Not
but
a
she
good
won.
match.
And then at 39, she lost to Rhea Ripley in the rematch, where it kind of helped establish Rhea. And at 40, she didn't wrestle. So that is Charlotte Flair's record. So some ups and downs. There's some good in there, and there's some stink, some bad. But
See, my problem is it's a couple of bad matches in a row, and then
mm,
I'm on the side that I agree Asuka's streak should have ended. I don't agree that Charlotte should have been the one that ended at WrestleMania. So like,
yeah, well, that was honestly, you know what that was? That was Vince wanting to recreate a streak ending in New Orleans
yep,
again. That's all that was.
I know,
Charlotte was just in the right place, the right time.
I know, very
But
upsetting.
yeah. So I'll be honest, I was gonna leave it at 3, but I felt like it was worth at least bringing up this fourth person just to
Uh-oh.
talk about. 'Cause
Wild
I think
card.
it's
Here we
worth.
go. The dark horse.
I think it's worth. I don't think it's that wild, but
Rhea
Rhea Ripley.
Bloody Ripley.
Yeah, I think it's worth bringing up. I mean, 3-2 record, not great, but looking at her wins and her matches so far, I think it's at least worth talking about. At least.
Okay.
36, she fought Charlotte Flair. She lost. NXT title on the line. Wasn't a great match because, again, no crowd can't really help there. Rhea defeats Asuka at WrestleMania 37. I'll admit, I don't even remember this match. Excuse me. But yeah, she beat Asuka at WrestleMania 37. This is the first Mania with people, fans back. At 38, then she teamed up with Liv Morgan in a 4-way tag team title match and lost to Sasha and Naomi.
Nice.
I don't believe they were the champs for this either, but they were kind of just in the match and lost. And yeah, then 39, she had her huge match with Charlotte where she won. And then at WrestleMania 40 last year, she fought Becky and won. This was Becky Lynch's like flu game where she was sick, unfortunately. So they kind of
Oh
threw
yeah,
it at the
yeah, I
beginning
remember
of the
that. Yeah.
they threw it at the beginning of the show. So it wasn't a bad match, but Becky being sick definitely didn't help matters. So again, I thought it was at least worth putting her in there, but I can definitely see the argument for her not being
So
considered. But
the only
yeah,
problem with Rhea is that it's just. I mean, I was gonna say like the number of matches, but it's actually pretty even with the number of matches with everyone else. The number of memorable matches still don't match up with the other ones yet.
mhm.
Like we said,
Yeah,
Charlotte Flair, that was a stinker. Asuka, we don't really remember. The tag team match was all right. The second Charlotte Flair match was better. And then the Becky flu game, that wasn't her fault, but it wasn't the greatest match they could. It was still a good match, just not the greatest they could have had. So like,
yeah.
if I'm going to
I was
say
gonna
Miss
say so.
WrestleMania, which to me is based on quality, she's not there yet with the quality.
Yeah, and that's fine. So I would ask you now. I have my personal top 3 in my head. Again, no right or wrong answer. But if you had to make a top 3, starting from 3, 2, then 1, what would
Gotcha.
your top 3? What would your top 3 be from these 4 for who would be considered? Do you want to see any slides again? Or are
I was
you
just
good?
say, can you go back to the Bianca slide for me?
Yes, there you go.
All right. Sasha Banks.
You let me know. I'll
Asuka.
switch to anything.
So So, okay.
Mhm.
I'm going to then go with, because again, I'm looking
Okay.
at the quality of the matches. I'm looking for more like matches I remember, matches that jump out to me, stuff like that.
Mhm.
And the two matches that really jump out to me in a bad way for each one, and I think right now that I'm kind of torn here. My number one's kind of set. Um,
Okay.
but I don't want to give away with what I'm torn with because then that gives it away right away. So
Well, you can start. You can start with three. I
yeah,
mean,
yeah,
if
that's
you
what
know
I'm trying to start with. And
Yeah.
my number three is gonna
Number three.
be. I'm gonna go with Charlotte. If you could bring a Charlotte slide, I'm gonna go with Charlotte for number three.
Okay.
For a few reasons. One, I am personally just again sour about the Asuka match, but there was also a few matches that again weren't good quality wise. The Rhea Ripley, the Ronda Rousey match, those weren't good. Again, the second Rhea Ripley match was better, but not up to some of the other standards. The triple threat, I wasn't crazy about the main event triple threat. I think that was a circumstance of the why can't I think of the word, stipulations of the match with the double belts and how they how they can be taken off and stuff like that. And the fatal four way, I really don't remember. And that's kind of weird when it's a fatal four way. The Becky Lynch and Sasha match is the best one I remember and the one that I think is the best. But quality wise, 1 maybe 2 out of 7. I just don't think it's going to really cut it for me. So Charlotte's going to be at number 3 for me, which makes Bianca my number 2. If we go back to Bianca's slide. So Bianca's number 2 because she, for me, only has really one standout match in a good way, and that's the Sasha Banks match. The Becky Lynch squash match sucked. The Asuka match was okay, but they didn't really tear down the house. And then the 6-woman last year just wasn't really my cup of tea. I think that's more the Jade Cargill effect there, but that wasn't like a standout great match for me either. So she has one match that I enjoyed more than Charlotte's one match that I enjoyed. So that's why I'm putting her above Charlotte.
So just to clarify, I don't know if it makes a difference or not, but the squash you're talking about, that was SummerSlam prior to this Mania.
Was that SummerSlam? Am I conflating those two? That's hilarious.
Yeah, the Becky, because Becky came back.
Oh, that's when she got her. That's when she got her. Yeah, that's when she got her win back. My apologies. Well, then that makes it even better. That actually does make it even better because then that would put her at the number 2 more because that match was good. So I just conflated those two as I was going through it.
All good. I just want to make sure you knew.
Thank you for that. And then that means number 1 for sure, Trish Stratus, because she has 3 for me good matches that I really, really enjoyed. And that would be the Lita and Jazz match, the Victoria and Jazz match, and the Mickie James match. Chrissy Hemme, I don't really even remember they wrestled. And then her last 2 matches were more nostalgia. Say what you will about, Snooki, whatever. Trish, I remember watching her wrestle that match and being like, she can still go. And, like, that was good for her for that match to remind us, like, you might be nostalgia technically, but, like, you can still wrestle. You still made that match a little bearable for everyone who's watching, like, afraid to watch Snooki. Obviously, John Morrison and Dolph Ziggler did their thing, but, like, on the women's side, I was like, oh God, what is going to happen between Snooki and stuff like that? And then the Bayley Io Dakota match with her, Becky, and Lita. I remember Lita being the reason that match was actually kind of crappy. And that was just kind of a shame because that kind of put a blight on the whole Becky and Trish stuff because they were still doing well, but like Lita just kind of brought that match down for them, which kind of sucked.
First off, I want to point out Zolf Diggler. That was amazing. Thank you.
Did I?
You said Zolf Diggler. I was like, wait a minute. What?
That's the name for the spelling bee next week or whatever next time is.
Mm-hmm. Well, all right. So you consider Trish missed WrestleMania. Well, that's very interesting because our top 3 is literally the exact opposite. Well, not the exact opposite, but like nothing alike at all.
Okay.
So for me personally, my number 3 is Trish.
Wow.
Because I'm looking at someone that like Shawn Michaels, when you think of Shawn Michaels, synonymous with WrestleMania. So a lot of moments at WrestleMania. So which ones stick out the most? And honestly, with Trish, like her, besides the Mickey James match, her only other WrestleMania moment is when she was making out with Christian. Um,
I mean, that
so
WrestleMania 19 match was pretty dope. That was like a
no,
good
I
match.
know, but like again, when you think back on WrestleMania, like the only thing that pops in my mind with Trish is that. So
Fair. Okay.
like, so personally, I got Trish at 3 on this list. From there, I have Charlotte at 2.
Okay.
Um, I think I th- I think that she's got like I liked the 3-way and the 4-way. I like the 4-way more because she lost. Um, and then the Oscar match, I didn't like it either, but it's a moment, it's a memory that sticks out for something with that she did at WrestleMania.
Fair.
The triple threat match, be damned, still a moment, main eventing with women, blah blah blah. So it still it counts for what it is. 36 and 38, I can't give her at all. But then the Rhea Ripley match again, she lost, but it was a very good match.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, so I have her at 2. From there, I put Bianca at 1 just because again, I'll play that game and say she's 4-0, but like you look at the list and like so far, like in my opinion, she has no misses.
Okay.
And
That's
yeah,
fair.
yeah, she's still going. Like I really liked all of the matches that she's had at Mania so far, and I think
Killer Tomato
she's
says
gonna keep.
boo, by the way.
I think she's gonna keep it going this year with this triple threat. Um, and it's kind of why I put Rhea on there because I think Rhea's gonna help too with that. And I mean, clearly her and Charlotte are still building their resumes, but so far I just think looking at their resumes, I think Bianca has the best overall collection so far of matches.
Yeah,
So
and that's totally fair.
yeah,
Honestly, I don't think you could go really, like you said at the beginning, really wrong with any of them. They
yeah,
each
no,
have
that
their
that
own
three,
moments, and kind of depends.
yeah,
Honestly, kind of depends when you also like what style you're into, when you started watching. Things like that are kind of factors of all that. Trish doesn't have the same style as Bianca. Her and Charlotte have a very different style as well. So like, what do you consider good matches? What do you consider memorable moments? Stuff like that. I completely agree. So very different, but I enjoyed it. We're huge. Hold on, I gotta fix that.
I like being huge.
Whoa. Pause.
Yeah. And again, if anybody thinks that there's a name we did not mention, like I didn't put Asuka on there, I didn't put Sasha. It's like
Well, Asuka
I don't.
unfortunately is 0-6, so like
Yeah, but
you can't
even
really
with the
make an
record, like
argument. Well, what I'm saying, you can't
who
really
else?
make an argument for Asuka because like she hasn't had memorable moments.
That's the thing. Like, who else is there that could even be like? Yeah, okay, so it's before Killer Tomato said Becky. Um, yeah, I mean, I think she had a 3-5 record when I looked her up, or 3-4, so not a good record. But like, she had the match with Bianca, that's good. She had the WrestleMania 35 match, but like,
I was gonna say
I
her
think her,
moments. Same with Asuka. I think are other people's moments that she's there for.
yeah,
Like she's there sharing it.
and that could be okay, but not when you want to be Miss WrestleMania.
Agreed. No.
Um,
You have to be the
so
like. Even in
yeah,
losses, Shawn Michaels was Mr. WrestleMania. You know what I mean? Like that's why he got that moniker. Where it's
yeah.
like in losses, you still got to be the show, the reason why the match was so good. And if the other person was equally, if not more, the reason, then you can't really be Miss WrestleMania. So no, totally agree with
Yeah,
that.
yeah. I just can't see who else. Like I'm really trying to think who else could even be considered, and
Those are
I
the
don't think
only
anybody.
ones. I agree with you. Even
Yeah,
like
there's
thinking
no one
back in the
else.
day, Alundra Blaze, none of them really even fought at WrestleMania, let alone came
Yeah.
anywhere close to these records or moments at WrestleMania. The only other like woman's mania moment is what, Cyndi Lauper. Like like that whole Rock and Roll Express, like that's not a Miss WrestleMania thing at all. Wendy Richter and Cyndi Lauper, that doesn't really count. Luna, Luna and Sable, they had their moments, but that wasn't like anything big. Those weren't anything huge or like great matches at all.
Well, I mean, to be
Ch-
fair, who could forget Sable defeating the Legion of Doom at WrestleMania 12, Danny?
that's yeah, I know. Thank you AI for those crazy information.
Ah, jeez. Yeah.
Um, and then I'm just kind of like going through the list. You had
Yeah, there's
China,
no one
but China
else.
wasn't a big moment thing. You had Lay Cool and the Bellas for a while, but that whole era with the women's wrestling was respectfully a joke. Like, they didn't really treat them well, and they didn't really highlight it well. Yeah, no, that's. I mean, I can't really think of any other time periods where it could have been even close. So those are the only three I think of. Also,
yeah, I truthfully think we're determining / crowning that right now in real time. That's why I don't think Trish. If this much time has gone by and Trish hasn't been thrown into that kind of conversation and on that much of a scale, I just don't think that's going to happen. So I think right now it's
if you ask me in 2 years after the next two WrestleManias play out, who's Miss WrestleMania, Trish won't be number one.
Yeah, we'll see how things play out, but yeah, I think right now it's being determined, and all right, so we are done. So that is it for this week. Thank you all for joining us. One last quick plug for next week's episode. So right now, WWE is currently revealing a day at a time their top 50 WrestleMania matches of all time.
Matches,
but we are
not moments. Matches.
Top 50 WrestleMania matches of all time. So what we are going to do is by next week, I believe they're going to be about halfway done with their list. What we're going to do here on the show, we're going to quickly just skim through the list that they currently have made. I'll draw that up. A list of all the current matches they have on their list. And then, knowing there's 20, 25 matches to go, we are going to try and predict the top 10. So we're not going to do what we want. We're going to think WWE brain, and based on what they've done, where they're going, we're going to try and figure out what they're going to do with their top 10.
Yeah.
So tune in next week. That'll be very fun, very nerdy for all of you. But on top of that, we'll still be doing the AEW card pack opening, fantasy leaderboard. Maybe we'll debut the mailbag. We'll see. The SharpSHOOTers 1 at yahoo.com.
I'll say if we get 10 questions, we should debut the mailbag next week. So if we can get 10, I think that's a good start.
Yeah, and we're already at 5. So if you got questions, wrestling related or not, go to the SharpSHOOTers 1 at yahoo.com. That is the number 1.
We the ones, right? That's why.
Come on. Yeah, that's totally it. But yeah, that's it. Thank you all for joining us. It's been nice to be back and talk with all y'all in chat.
And don't forget, Thursday we will be doing our Last Point Standing, where we talk about this week in wrestling. All right, so we have a lot to talk about, good and bad, so please tune in. And we don't even know what happened on Dynamite yet, so that's going to be really interesting. See everyone on Thursday, same time, same place. Peace out, everybody.
Hey to Cub Scouts.